Hey guys, this is Ali, and you're watching The Distribution. And I have a news for you. Don't spend all of your money on the paid marketing because this is what we are hearing from experts, startups, and all the reports that we have. And we'll walk you through all of these things today. First of all, we'll see this interview that was published a few days ago. This is Raja Mannar. He's a former CMO of MasterCard. He's still with MasterCard, by the way, but he spent 13 years as CMO. He has a claim that the traditional advertising is dead. Give us a clarity of what exactly he's thinking. This is what he says. Put yourself in the shoes of your customers. You are bombarded by anywhere between 3,000 and 10,000 commercial messages every single day. It's an overload of commercial messages that most people and the human brain cannot simply process. They just tune out. So the clutter is unbelievable. Coupled with that, the span of human attention has started shrinking. It's under 8 seconds and all that. So you have a very narrow window of attention through which 3,000 to 10,000 ads are trying to go through. To me, it sounded like madness. I said, how do we know if our ad is being noticed properly? My hypothesis is advertising is not working the way it used to when there was much less clutter. And I said, let's cut 10% of our advertisement budget and then see what happens. Nothing happened. Then I said, okay, we can go bolder and bigger. So, over the period of time, I cut off 70% of my entire advertising budget and move that money to alternate ways of communication. Whether it is influencer marketing, whether it is experiential marketing, our brand started growing faster. So this is what he says, that even after cutting the budgets to like 70%, he didn't see any impact on the branding and on the ROI. So that is what you need to understand first, that don't put all of your money on the advertising blindly. There are so many other ways, so many new ways to distribute. Some of those are working really well, some of those are in different kind of struggles. So you need to understand what is working for you and what is not working for you. Another thing he says, that it's not that advertising doesn't work, but to make advertising work, it's getting more and more difficult. It is becoming even more difficult to establish that your advertising is working and attribute the result to this advertising campaign. And so from that point of view, I keep saying in provocative way, advertising is dead. Also, he says that the alternate mechanism of reaching out to consumers are going through the roof. For example, if you look at the live experiences around the world, they are being sold out like there's no tomorrow. And it's not just the selling of the tickets at the venues, but also the social amplification of what's happening. With the rise of influencers, that's another huge jump. You have to be looking at a holistic picture. The need to communicate remains. How you communicate, not only be through advertising, but that doesn't mean advertising is going to go away anytime soon. The reality is 30% of my budget is there in advertising. Another thing he says about brands, when the clutter is high already, you should figure out a way to stand out as opposed to add to that clutter. At one of the hotels, where every single place you look around, there's a name of a particular brand. One of my older colleagues was actually commenting, oh, this brand seems to be vomiting all over this hotel. Don't mistake visibility for impact. You need a certain level of visibility. That's the whole point of advertising, I would say. But beyond that, it is off-putting and you only add to that clutter. So that is basically you spend extra money that you should be very careful about. Another thing he talks about is that there has to be design aesthetic that is pleasing to the customer. You have to be very, very elegant as a brand. Now, when he talks about being elegant, it means different things to different industries. That's what I was thinking. That, for example, I saw another news about Fleek.com. They just raised $25 million Series B. And if you don't know Fleek, it's not an AI tool, it's an AI powered marketplace for secondhand clothings. And they are working in so many different countries and doing very well so far. So this is what they are doing. They have raised $25 million, founded in 2021. So when it comes to being present and being very elegant, I think they have a very different kind of example. So it's not like MasterCard. MasterCard is very elegant. I'm sure it's a corporate company. It's not a startup anymore, and it's doing really well, and their ads are amazing and everything. But when you look at Fleek's marketing, it's not elegant from that perspective. They are doing very well and they have a very good reach, and their messaging and their content is very targeting. They are sharing how they can how they work, how the system works, how the clothing works, where they get these clothing from, and all that, how different kind of people are using their marketplace and making revenue, doing the business, all that. For these kind of startups, for them this is working. What we are seeing here, it's working for them and it's good enough for them. And that's what he was also saying. If we read this statement, you can be present in that character, what kind of the character you build as a brand. So that is one of the things that he shared with us. And I think it doesn't mean that you have, if you are listening from the MasterCard CEO, you have to follow what exactly MasterCard is doing. You have to define your own brand. Speaking of this thing, there are some reports in the market about budget allocations. Different companies are spending their money on different kind of marketing channels, and that's what we wanted to understand. These are some of the key takeaways from this Flint B2B digital marketing allocation statistics. What they're saying is, in the B2B spending, with 61% of total marketing budget is now allocated to digital channels and AI powered MarTech tools, up from 53% in 2024. I think if 2024 it was 53%, right now in the middle of 2026 it would be a lot more higher than 61%. This is what my assumption is. 52% of B2B organizations report dedicated AI investment in their 2025 marketing budget. You don't have to be worried about 52% or 50% or 53%. We have to understand, is it a big number or a small number? Is it half the total organizations, more than half, or what? Looking at here, I don't think this 52% number is correct, because it seems like an old number, because what I'm seeing across different industries and in different companies, the number is much higher. Budget pressure persists, with only 35% of the marketing decision makers expecting increase greater than 5% in 2025. I'm not sure if this is a report for 2026, but I think this is true for somehow, because the budgets haven't increased much if we take the average. Paid media leads allocation at 30% of total marketing budget, making landing pages optimization critical for ROI. So this is a very good hint of where they spend their money on. So they are spending like 30% of the total marketing budget on the lead allocation, to get the leads directly. I believe they are talking about the performance marketing through the landing pages for direct ROI. Rest of the 70% is going in different other directions. Tech companies invest aggressively, with 11 to 15% of revenue going to marketing. This is a very general statement. Maybe it's an average from a large data, because when we look at the tech companies, they are spending more than 60 and 70% of their total budgets, because the marketing is difficult and becoming more and more difficult. The distribution is the most important thing at the moment. So many companies are spending way more than what we are thinking, and what they have said here, that number is big and big. Lead generation received 36% of the budget. This is somehow related to this one, and I think it makes sense. 30 to 35%, 1/3 of your total budget is to get the lead generations directly. I think we cannot ignore something if it's coming from HubSpot. This is a very comprehensive report. I'll put the link in the description. But I think we need to understand here what they are saying, especially for the marketing budgets. So here are some important findings. 75% of marketers use 5+ distinct marketing channels. This is important. 75% of the marketers are using more than 5 marketing channels. That's a big number, because when I see some of the new companies, they are not spending a lot of their efforts, not just money, efforts on more than 2 or 3 marketing channels or distribution channels. When we see here, 75% of all the companies are working on more than 5 marketing channels. 85% of marketers revisit their brand identity quarterly or annually. That's what everyone should do. 93%, almost everyone of marketers report that personalization improve leads or purchases. That is very important actually. This is what we talk about in the last video. If you haven't watched that yet, you should see my YouTube, and this is the last video I posted, and this is where we talk about personalization in the outreach, because when you have to be personalized, you have to be very specific, you have to work on that email or whatever, and that really works. So don't focus on spending money and time on those cold outbound campaigns that are just going here and there blindly, and they don't give you any kind of data and don't give you any kind of results, and people have started ignoring those kind of emails as well. Focus on personalization. Actually, 59% of marketers review performance on daily or weekly basis. 80% of marketers, again the big number of marketers, use AI for the content creation, and 75% use it for the media production. This number is actually the, it seems to be the latest number as compared to what we saw in another report. So I think this is what we are seeing right now everywhere. Everyone is spending money on content creation, not directly generating an AI content, but using AI tools to generate a lot of content. Last thing here is 41% of marketers says the top trend they are exploring is updating SEO strategy for changes in search. This is what I'm seeing as well. SEO is dying. It is becoming very difficult. If you're spending money on SEO, if you're spending your efforts on SEO, it's not gonna give you a lot more output, because SEO is being replaced by AI chatbots and Google Overview, Gemini, and everything. You can, work on the optimization, so these AI chat tools can recommend your brand. That is what you should be focusing on if you're talking about the SEO kind of things. So going forward, we have this top marketing channels by ROI. This is what's going very well. So SEO here, although I'm saying that it's going down, and it is going down, but still we get most of our ROI from search engine optimization, from those landing pages and all, and that is 27%, but it is not a lot higher than the rest of the channels. So for example, paid social media content brings 26%, organic social media content is 24%. And you know why these two are on the top two? Because these are the most mature channels, and especially SEO is there for decades, right? So they are most organized, more secure. There are systems that are working with you to, help you get most of the data. Paid social media is also not new. It's been there for much more time. There are analytics, there are clear, click through experiences, and you get tracked almost everything. The reason that these two are on the top, but also these other things are going popular. So email marketing, for example, 22% still working, but you have to be very careful, and especially this is working for the B2B, but also for B2C brands. This is another thing, it's very interesting. Short form videos, overall short form videos see the most returns by a long shot, and this is what they are saying, that short form videos are across all kind of businesses, small, medium, enterprise. Short form videos are taking the lead. I mean, they give you most of the returns. So 60% overall as compared to any other type. So long form videos 38%, not bad, but we can't compare with the short form videos, right? Blog posts still working, 38%. Live streaming videos, this is one of the very interesting channels for many of the industries. Images 36%, UGC is 35%. I was expecting that UGC, user generated content, would be part of this thing, but UGC itself is a separate kind of format, and it's working very very well. If we put them in one segment, these are really good ones. Infographics, case studies, ebooks, I think these are smaller in terms of numbers, but they are good. Interactive content, white papers, checklists, templates, NFT, podcasts, and other audio content. So this really is a winner, not just for B2C, but for B2B as well. Highest ROI content format. This is probably the last thing I'm going to share from here. And this is basically 2026 and 2025. So it's a big jump on the short form videos. Trend is almost double, and actually more than double. Short form videos are bringing the highest ROI. Long form videos are also becoming popular. Live streaming has gone up, UGC has gone up, also the blog post, of course, but this is the winner, obviously. Here, this is the last thing I promise. This is the Facebook that is going down from 54% to 43. Again, the highest ROI social platforms from 54 to 43%. from 2024 5 to 6. Instagram is going up, YouTube is going up. This is a very good interesting number that many people are spending a lot of their time on YouTube, and I think they have increased their premium subscription as well. I mean, the number of users who are opting for the premium, so more and more organic content is being watched. TikTok has seen like a 50% growth, so this is also very interesting. So that's it. Just don't forget that you subscribe to this channel if you haven't already, because that doesn't take any of your money from your marketing channel. I'll see you another time.